Welcome to Farm Africa live webinar. Today's topic, we are exploring youth in agribusiness. I would like to introduce myself as a moderator for this webinar. My name is Asiimwe Caroline. I work for Farm Africa as a markets and value chain technical expert for the region. I am broadcasting from Tanzania, and I want to say welcome. Just before we get started, I would like to let you know that the webinar is being recorded. If you happen to drop off the webinar, try to join in again. If you experience a technical problem, don't worry. We are recording this webinar and we can share the recording afterwards. If you experience any difficulty with the pictures, sound quality of the speakers, please be patient with us. Our team will try to rectify it as soon as possible. We are taking questions for our panelists today. Feel free to submit them using the Q&A in the Zoom rather than the chat box, please. You're welcome to submit your questions anytime. I would like to ask you to share with us your name and the question. Feel free to stay anonymous. Apologies if we don't get around of all the questions, as time might limit us. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists, starting with Dave Watson.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Dave Watson. I work for the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office of the UK government. I'm based in Agra in Nairobi, working on regional food trade and resilience.
Thank you, Dave. Jen Ngige.
Hi, everyone.
Second panelist.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jane Ngige. I am a board member of Farm Africa as well as the Agriculture Sector Network. I am participating from Nairobi, Kenya. My background is food and agriculture biotechnology. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Stephen is a third panelist.
Hi, everyone. My name's Stephen Muguna, project coordinator, Growing Futures Project, based in Western Kenya. And the projects are managed by Farm Africa. I'm broadcasting from Kitale, Trans Nzoia County, Kenya.
I'm excited to introduce Joseph as one of our panelists.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joseph Kiplagat, a farmer from Chemoset Village, Cherangan constituency, Trans Nzoia East Sub-County, Trans Nzoia County, and from Western Kenya region. Thank you.
Thank you, panel. To make the World Food Day, which will be on 16th October, we would like to discuss how we can ensure young people in the rural communities in Eastern Africa can get involved in the development of sustainable food systems. The World Food Day is a UN day where they are dedicated to thank the food heroes who, no matter the circumstances, continue to provide food for communities and beyond. In Eastern Africa, 70% of the population is involved in agriculture. Young people, therefore, form the majority of this population, and they should be the first ones to benefit from the emerging links of export markets, especially for the high value crops, employment opportunities driven by private sector investment in agriculture. As we may all know, lack of knowledge and quality requirements, but also access to productive assets like land, financial services, experiences of engaging with private sector companies, buyers, usually challenge the young people to engage in commercial agriculture. With funding from ALDI, UK Aid, UK government, other foundations like Medical, Farm Africa is supporting young people in Western Kenya to gain opportunities and incomes by engaging in vegetable production and other horticultural crops. They mainly support access to skills, agronomic skills and business skills, as well as access to financial services. For them, for the businesses to thrive, but also for the young people to gain incomes. Now, I'd like to take a look at a short film of how this project features our own Joseph, who is one of the panelists here.
Say hello to Joseph. He's a farmer living in Kenya, dad to 4 kids, and young entrepreneur. Farming keeps Joseph's family well fed, his kids in school, and happy. But just a few years ago, he was struggling to get by. So what changed? Well, Joseph joined Farm Africa's Growing Futures project. Funded by ALDI UK, the project is helping young Kenyan adults build thriving farming enterprises. Joseph switched from maize to veg and was trained in how to grow more, grow quality produce, and grow his business. Joseph's future is growing.
After doing this project, we have money, all the requirements in the family, like taking children to school, the nutrition of the family is actually raised up. We can meet the balanced diet.
The main focus of the project is to ensure that the farmers get the market access. So we provide market linkage amongst the farmers. We provide trainings on technical skills, on crop production, and also business skills.
Joseph has gone from being a job seeker to a job creator. At harvest time, he employs his neighbours to pick veg.
Here in Trans Nzoia County, Kenya, ALDI are proudly working with Farm Africa to support these farmers as they learn to farm in a more sustainable way, both environmentally and commercially, so that they can support their families, pay for education and provide a healthy outlook for the future.
Fantastic film there showing the impact of the project, having just on one family, Joseph's family. We are, of course, joined by Joseph today. We would love to hear how far your family have come since you first involved in the project. But first, as the project coordinator, let's come to you, Stephen, for a short presentation to hear more about this project.
Growing Futures projects are projects which are designed to support youth, specifically in Western Kenya. And currently we are based in Trans Nzoia County and Elgeyo Marakwet. And these projects support youth to increase incomes and also create market linkages. The projects have target a number of challenges or problems that face the youth face, and these challenges include youth unemployment in the region, inconsistent and low income, lack of technical know-how in horticultural crop production, poor or no market access for horticultural produce, poor or absence of quality management systems among producers, lack of business acumen for the producers, and poor linkages or interaction with input suppliers. To resolve these challenges, Farm Africa designed 2 main objectives, and the first main objective was to increase the income for rural youth through agribusiness, and also improve or create where market access was lacking, and the market access for the horticultural produce. To achieve the two objectives, Farm Africa formulated solutions, and these solutions include training farmers on agronomic or technical and business skills, Bongap training and certification, post-harvest management system development, stakeholder linkage, forming beneficial partnerships, including contractual farming, and introduction of climate smart agricultural technologies. After formulating these solutions, we also have indicators to measure if we are achieving, or rather how we are progressing in achieving. One of the indicators is reduced rejection rate. Rejection rate is the produce which is not meeting the requirements, or rather the specifications by a specific market or a specific buyer. So that produce which does not get to a certain market or does not get bought by a certain buyer, we refer it as a reject or damaged produce. And one of the indicators was to reduce that produce which cannot get to the market. And as this graph shows, the rejection was high as we began, and at the moment, where we have green is where we had as at today. This indicates 3 years from 2018 to 2021. Like for tomato, the rejection rate was very high because of diseases, but currently we have very low rejection rates among the beneficiaries. The second indicator for the success, for measuring the success, is on incomes. We took data when we were starting in 2018, and we found out that overall, on average, farmers were earning, the target group was earning 121,000 Kenya shillings per year. But as at July this year, this year, the same families were earning 308,000 Kenya shillings per year. So it is an increment of almost over 250%. The third indicator is on market linkages. Because of our objective of market access, we also had to formulate a means of measuring if we are succeeding in linking farmers. When we started with farmers, with the targeting groups, the number of farmers in the groups we started with who had access to the market were below 10%. But currently, as you see the green in year 3, that is 2021, we are now above 50%. 50% of the farmers are able to access markets, and the markets with guarantee of contractual agreement. We have more than those farmers who are accessing the market, but this one only shows those who have a guarantee and they are fully contracted. The contract runs for a year, and we have increased. Actually, the increment of the farmers who are able to access market is over 300%. From the number we started, we met having access to the market. To the current situation, it is over 300% increment. We have many other means to measure success. We also look at the rate of productivity, that is the production per unit acre area. Mainly we use the production per acre. We also have other means of the volumes sold, volume consumed at family level, and we have a number of other measures.
Thank you so much, Stephen. That was amazing. It's an incredible difference that you are making in the lives of the farmers that are participating in this project. How much then would we want to come back to Joseph to ask him how much has this project changed his life and that of his family? Over to you, Joseph.
Okay, thank you. Actually, way back before 2016, I actually used to grow maize for my family basic requirements. And actually, it had some challenges because it could actually take a year to actually reserve the income. Actually, its cost of production was actually very high, but actual income is very low. So it actually plays around 5,000 to 7,000 or 8,000, depending on how you put efforts on doing it. Actually, while waiting for the handle crop to be ready, we had nothing to do. We had challenges on food. So I used to go for labor provision so that I can be paid between 150 shillings and 200 shillings. So when 2016, when Farm Africa came, they actually changed our livelihoods. They engaged us. We had some trainings. They taught us on best crop production requirements or programs. They taught us on business plan programs. They also taught us on agronomic on pests and diseases and knowledge. And actually, they came with this crop, which is the French beans, which actually takes only 60 days to be ready. So imagine that difference. So they also assisted us because we had some challenges on usage, what to use on the farms. We never had farm equipment, so they supplied us with water pumps and pipes for irrigation during dry spells. They also gave us protective gears, which actually could make safety on our lives and when on the fields. They also built some shelters and charcoal shelters for our produce, because actually they came with French beans, which should actually be in our process, so that we reduce the rate of rejects. So going through or having that knowledge, this has enabled me to program my projections. It has enabled me to increase my production. It has also enabled me to hire people to work for me because of increased productions. And they also linked us with the market, with the export market, and actually gave us the knowledge to deal with the local markets, supplying to schools, to institutions where they needed our local products. This also has created impact, because when we have the income, I could actually invest. For my case, I have invested in plot purchase. There is construction going on, and it is giving me income, monthly income. So it has expanded my livelihood, and actually to my family.
Thank you so much, Joseph and Stephen, for sharing that with us. Now let's go to the panelists. We want really to discuss how young people in rural communities are involved in development of sustainable food systems. I would like to remind our audience that you can submit your questions in the Q&A on Zoom. Remember to use a Q&A on Zoom, or rather the chat box. We want to ensure that we are able to pick your questions. Let's now start with the panelists. We would like to have a deeper discussion on how can we make agriculture more attractive to the young people in rural Kenya, but also across Africa. Let's hear the thoughts of our panelists today. Over to you, Jen.
Thank you very much. This is a very interesting question because one of the areas that we're having to deal with is the impact of climate change. And one of the things that we see is that we now have increased pests, and therefore the youth would like to be able to deal with the effects of increased temperatures, rainfall that is not reliable. And so they're looking at interventions such as technology, or that come through technology. Here we're looking at irrigation, we're looking at greenhouses, and we're also looking at specific products for specific markets, and therefore facing the whole challenge or dealing with the challenge of value-added products going into specific markets for better returns on their investments.
Thank you so much. Interestingly, that we are discussing technology into this. How, and the biggest challenge is the knowledge gap. Like we have earlier been listening into Joseph. What is happening within the Kenya industry in relation to technology provision for young people?
I'll continue with that. One of the challenges really is, just like we had, is the knowledge and also the skills development. And now we really have to focus on that to ensure that the youth can be attracted to this industry. And as I suggested, that looking at value-added products, for instance, you're looking at how we can use greenhouses to grow capsicums that meet market demands, capsicums that are able to avoid being infested with pests such as force-codling moth, but also looking at herbs, different kind of herbs that can be grown under greenhouse, although some of them can also grow out of greenhouses. We're looking at how we can deal with mangoes so that we deal with the caterpillars that bedevil the production of mangoes by, for instance, hot water treatment, and also dealing with avocados value addition, for instance, in terms of developing or rather manufacturing avocado pulp, rather than just sending them as whole mangoes that could be infested with all sorts of pests.
Would like maybe to discover more where the opportunities for young people are in some of the value chains you have mentioned, and how easy is it for them to succeed amidst the challenging climate? Over
Right.
to you. Yeah, over to you, Dave and Joseph, but starting with Dave. Dave, you're on mute. Thank you.
Yeah, it is a challenging climate, both as far as the environment is concerned, as far as the economics are concerned, and as far as COVID has made things incredibly difficult. I think as far as the youth is concerned, it's about creating a new image as well as new opportunities. Agriculture is seen by many as hard work for little pay. We've seen here that there are opportunities to double, to triple, to quadruple your annual incomes from selecting kind of higher value agricultural crops. I think as well, there's a significant kind of growth in the market, both for international export, but also for regional opportunities and for the domestic market. Eastern Africa has a rapidly growing population that needs to be fed. They're more kind of health conscious, and vegetables particularly, and fruit come into that melting pot. I think also there's an interest as well nowadays, also from kind of aggregators, from processors, from those further down the value chain, to reconnect with farmers, both young and old, to produce produce and to integrate them into more structured and more profitable markets. And I think that's something that young and all farmers can kind of grasp onto. I'll leave it at that for now. I'll come back to it if you want.
Thank you so much for those great insights, Dave. The horticulture sector, as we have seen, where Joseph has benefited a lot in Kenya, is mainly dominated by the big players. Before the people that have joined us on this call, particularly Rupert, would want to see how the young people can break in to really benefit from the markets that are basically dominated by a few players involved in the horticulture sector. Over to you, Stephen. What are some of the learnings that you could have documented engaging the youth to markets amidst the challenges or amidst the market requirements of working with export companies and other local buyers?
Thank you. It is true the big players take the biggest chunk of the market for export, particularly for export vegetables. But what we realized, or rather what we identified as the biggest barrier for the youth or the smaller farmers is the quality management systems. For one to get a market in UK or any other international market, there must be a comprehensive quality management system that is certified and given a certification number or rather code that is used in the UK markets or any other international markets to convince everybody that the food being put on the shelves is safe. And creating this system is quite expensive, and the smaller players and youth were not able to manage. But Farm Africa learned that gap, and one of the areas we have identified which requires to be worked on intensively, and Farm Africa has done a lot and also invested a lot on that, is global good agricultural practices, trainings and certification. So far, we have already certified over 126 farmers in the region who have already been given cones in UK to market their produce in the supermarkets around UK. That is one of the breakthroughs we have made to try to get the youth and other smaller farmers closer to the big farmers who have the muscles to create the system. The system includes structural systems and management systems, operating systems. It's a very comprehensive system, which is quite expensive, and that one we have seen it's working very well. The other approach is that the youth cannot do it alone the way the larger players are doing it, because the larger players are going it alone. Youth and the smaller farmers cannot do it. So after realizing that the young people and smaller farmers cannot be able to go through this process alone, we formed groups. So far, we have over 200 groups in the region, which we have already formed and certified through the government systems. And also, we have now advanced further. We have formed community-based organizations, which are managed by at least 5 groups and at most 13 groups. And these systems are certified as one. And the quality management system for these community-based organizations is also certified as one. So it has become much easier for these groups or smallholders to compete with larger players. I think this is the way to go. This is the way to unlock the potential for the youth and the smaller holders. Back to you.
Joseph would like to learn from you some of the community tweaks or tricks, if you want, that you and the fellow young farmers you have done within the community and are helping you to access both local and the export market. What is it that you have done as yourselves and is helping you to continue accessing markets, even when you do not get support from, say, from Africa?
Okay, thank you. Some of the methods we are using locally to acquire markets is actually knowing the timing of when a product is very high. So we inform those who are around us that at this time and session, we want to grow such a crop, for example, tomato or French beans, which is actually during dry spell. So that when we sell, it is actually at a higher price. Another issue is we communicate. We have partners at different places. So we will liaise with them and asking them what are the probabilities of a certain price of a certain commodity at a given place. So those are some of the things we are using to actually make others at least be encouraged in this crop production.
Thank you so much. Jen, we would like to know from Kenya context, what are some of the commodities you think offer huge opportunities for young people to benefit in, and how easy is it to explore opportunities for value addition in those commodities? Thank you. Jen, you're on mute.
Your pardon. One of the flagship exports for Kenya for many years has been the French beans, which have actually acquired the name of Kenya beans in some markets. And now our farmers are diversifying into other high value products, such as the herbs, herbs and capsicums and that kind of products that enhance the flavors in our foods. And also some of the indigenous vegetables that are being processed for both local and also export products. And I must say here that the young people are very keen to work with these new products because they're exciting, they're using technology, and they're being able to access assistance from development agencies such as Farm Africa. And in so doing, they're also able now to, for instance, look at mangoes, which we haven't been able to export for a very long time because of some problems that we've had with pests. And now with the new technology that is looking at hot water treatment, we can now look at mangoes. In situations like avocados, our biggest challenge has been export of unripe avocados because we didn't have the technology to decipher when the fruits are ripe or ripe enough for harvesting. And now we have that technology, and what this means is that there's less wastage of harvested avocados since they're harvested at the right time. And also the fact that we have been able to identify the seasons in a very specific manner. So we know that from certain parts of the country, this harvest will come into play at this time of the year, and other parts of the country, certain other varieties will also come in. We've also developed aggregators, you referred to them a little bit earlier, who are able to aggregate different products for different markets. And this has been very useful. I know they've had an adverse definition in the past, but now they're being seen as aggregators and people who actually add value to the products. In terms of again, adding value, the whole question of packaging. For instance, you now see products in the marketplace where you have a mix of different products like baby corn, French beans, baby carrots, peas in one pack, so that when you take that home as a buyer, particularly in the export market, you have a good mix of vegetables that you can use at different times. The rotational crops are also very good for the regional, for the local markets and also the regional markets. And here, like you have the tomatoes, the the tomatoes, you have the green maize, and these are good for rotation, and also cabbages. Recently, we are also doing very well with the potatoes in the country. Again, value addition here in terms of ensuring that these reach the buyers in good state, and paying a lot of attention to the issues of food safety, environmental stewardship, but also social and worker welfare to ensure that we have sustainable products going into their various markets.
Thank you so much, Jen. Dave, COVID has taught us that one, food production and market access are critical. And like you may know that most of the young people are interested but to engage in agriculture, but the cost of engagement is rather high in terms of accessing skills and others. The other issue is also the market is looking at the safety of vegetables or fruits that are being sold there. From a development perspective, where do you see opportunities for funding new innovations in commercializing agriculture by the young people? And how do we and how do the interested parties you think should package themselves going forward?
I think this is a hot topic and a very, very interesting topic. Partly it's because Africa, not only is there a growing kind of youth bulge, but there's a growing population across the board. A lot of that is becoming urbanized. A lot of that is becoming more discerning about what they eat and how they eat it. There's a lot of investment already going into agriculture, both on the production side and particularly on the aggregation and processing side, value addition side. That's something that needs investment, not just from development partners, but also from the private sector. There's a lot of opportunity to supply international markets as well as regional and domestic markets. Yeah, there's money that can be available or funding that can be available from a range of sources. As I mentioned earlier, the private sector is getting more interested and engaged with smallholder producers, including youth, to supply into more structured value chains, regional, local, international. There's quite a big push at the moment as well to work at a policy level, at a political level, to ensure that agriculture is supported and facilitated in evolving, in growing in a way that's commercial and interesting for youth. I think as well, it's not just about the production side. There are opportunities through aggregation, through processing, through access to finance, a whole range of opportunities that are available for youth, for those that are wanting to get involved in agriculture. But at the end of the day, it's about the commercial dimension. It's about having an interesting and rewarding life, both kind of financially and you know, feeling that you've done a good job and you know, you're rewarded for that job.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll leave that for now. I think one of just if I can just add this, if I might. Sure. I think one of the big benefits, and I kind of class it as piggybacking on these kind of big international value chains, is that local producers can do a lot of that learning in the field. They can learn how to produce the quality, and particularly the quality at the right price. And that serves not just international markets, that serves regional and growing local markets as well. And that's really, really important. I think there's a really good spin-off there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Alexander from London. We would love to learn from you, we would love to learn from you, Stephen, how other business development providers have been able to integrate climate smart practices in Western Kenya using the case for the project that is implemented by Farm Africa, Growing Futures?
Thank you. Other players, one thing I would like to emphasize here, we don't go it alone as Farm Africa. We go in partnership with a number of them for sustainability purposes. When we are trying to intervene on ash, weather during dry spell, we go with the oil irrigation service and equipment providing companies in the area. Like now, we are trying as much as possible to work hand in hand with the solar power and pump systems and all the suppliers. We work with them. And actually, most of them, we started with them when they are in Nairobi, and they have now settled. They have opened some satellite offices in the region. If it's a greenhouse, if it's the climate smart nurseries, where we protect seedlings during heavy rains or hailstorms inside a greenhouse, we also work with the suppliers of those items. And one of our partners last month also settled in the region. They were having only one shop in Ondolets, but 2 months ago they have opened an outlet in Kitale. So we work with them hand in hand. And now when we work with them in our targeting groups, they spill over. They move around the whole community, and the whole community gets supported with these technologies.
Thank you so much. Joseph, the presentation was really fantastic, and you showed us how you're growing for the export market. But our listeners are trying to understand, how are you integrating food security and ensuring that the households in Western Kenya are food secure?
Okay, thank you for that question. Actually, apart from growing export products, we also deal with local market crops like tomatoes, cabbages, sukuma wiki, spinach, among others. This produce we actually sell to people near us, like the nearby schools, hospitals, and the nearby markets, so that people will come and buy. And actually, at the end of the day, it is supplied within all of our region. So we don't have that pagan space of actually people lacking what to use in terms of vegetables. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen Ngige, we know that Kenya is earning most of its revenue from the export of horticulture. And would love to learn from you, what initiatives has the government put in place to boost private sector development opportunities for young people to engage and harness these opportunities?
Thank you very much for that question. Yes, indeed. Horticulture has been one of our very significant exports. I think it's actually about number 3. And it also provides a lot of employment. And do remember that Dave did mention that when people are working on these farms, they also learn a lot while on the job. And so what the government itself has done very proactively is to engage our markets, our key markets, that is the UK market, the European Union market, to better understand the requirements of accessing these markets and putting in institutions and strengthening those that are in place to help the farmers, for instance, to meet the phytosanitary requirements, and also to use the right products for pesticide control, like the Pesticide Control Board, and other institutions like the Horticulture Development Crop Authority. So the government has strengthened these institutions so that they can work with the farmers to ensure that only compliant produce reaches the market. Now, in terms of the youth, there's a lot of encouragement of the youth to take up agriculture courses, either at degree level or a diploma level through the Tibet, or even to come up with a qualification framework so that those who have gained experience on the farm, on the job, can also be certified in their areas of expertise. And with that kind of recognition of their skills and knowledge, they can also get better jobs to higher levels, or even begin their own production. The government has also been working very hard at ensuring that the young people can get access to finances. For instance, there's a requirement that the banks provide a certain percentage of their loan portfolios to agriculture, and some of this is targeted to the youth and of course the women. So the government is indeed assisting and also working to diversify the markets, not just the UK and the EU, but to open up markets through trade protocols, through trade missions in other areas to the east, and also to the US. And this means a lot of government-to-government procedures and protocols put in place, and also educating or enlightening the diplomatic corps all over the world, so that wherever they are, they're in a position to promote products, the produce of Kenya. Thank you.
Interestingly, Joseph, would love to learn from you as a farmer, how the government, it could be the district, the local district council, the local district office, or the central government, in your community in Western Kenya, how has the government supported the young people involved in agriculture? And is there any case you can share with us today?
Yes, indeed. And
Jane, I would love to hear more from Joseph.
Thank you. Let me go.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, we have those captain officers who are working on agricultural sector, who actually we always liaise when dealing with challenges based on our crop production, challenges on pests and diseases, on climatical issues, issues of risk management. So they always come, and we actually always care from them on incentives when of some farm products like farm inputs. When actually we are in a group, we liaise with them, and we request them that they at least give us a subsidy on our farm inputs, so that we may pay half of the price of the inputs, like 50. They pay 50, government pays 50, and we pay 50. So those are the impacts we came from working, being close to the government. They also come for trainings, and they are partners with Farm Africa and all others who are surrounding this project. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very interesting insights that are coming in. We would then want to discuss the question of private sector engagement for the young people. We know that especially for the young people that have not gone to school, they are not able to express themselves. Maybe there is a young mother who is really struggling to make life back. I would want to learn from you, Stephen. How has the project supported social skills and other experiences for the young farmers to engage with businesses?
Thank you. One approach the project used that ensure that young farmers are really they benefit from the program is organization of those farmers who may not be able to voice for their needs or requirements. When we are organizing them, we also have mentors. We include mentors in those groups, whereby we have 60 to 70% youth, and then 30 to 40% adults who can mentor the youth in different challenges they go through. we look at the social requirements, and then we see how we balance the groups. Well, to start with, we started with pure youth groups, but they did not do well because there was that missing of the other social support in the groups. But this time, when we reviewed the approaches, we included that social support by engaging the more experienced farmers, and then we included them in the groups. We also do intensive trainings for all the farmers who we feel they are really needed, and then we support a common investment with them. For example, if a group is having 15 farmers, we request them to provide 1 acre to 1.5 acres, where we provide all the inputs as the learning, as part of learning, and also part of capital. All the income they get from that investment, which we support, it now trickles down. They share it aloud among themselves, and then the young families who could not be able to have somewhere to start, then get some capital somewhere to start. Those who are not able to start right away, we still organize them in groups of friendly farmers, groups of about five farmers who can be able to have a joint venture. They farm together, but when they are selling, each farmer, if, for example, they have harvested 100 kilos of French beans today, and they are 5, each will sell 20 kilos under their own name. So we have tried to look at all the requirements those young families and young farmers have, and we have incorporated them in the project.
Thank you very much. Access to finance is a huge challenge for young people to engage in agriculture. Would love to learn from you, Joseph. What are some of the initiatives your community is engaged in to access money, use money, and be able to invest in growing vegetables? Thank you.
Okay, actually at our level, we have actually our group. We have a group which is actually registered with social services. So as a group, when we are projecting for our farming, because now we have certificates, we actually go to the banks, and we write our proposal requesting for money to be our working capital. So because we have all the requirements, we have the certificates, our IDs, and we are in a group, we can actually access funds. Another way that we are doing while in a group is actually through savings. We have a table banking, which is actually we buy and sell money so that it can support us on our farm or crop farm projections. So it makes us actually easy to access funds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I would like to clarify that, or rather to hand that the VSLA, or Village Savings and Loaning Association, which we introduced to farmers, they buy money from themselves and they sell to themselves, not the outsiders. Actually, that one has covered a huge gap for the young families and youths, because most of them could not get the collaterals to get the funding from the bank. So they raise money. If they agree every week, they will be contributing, let's say, 200 shillings, and that money is accumulated, and then it is used to loan the same members, and then they pay on weekly or monthly basis, or rather they do it a friendly. Some groups even go to one season. When the exporter is paying back, is when now the group members are able to return the money back to the group kitty, and that one has really assisted a lot the young families and young farmers.
Amidst COVID challenges, we had a number of restrictions, movement, touching money. How did the groups or how are the young farmers able to thrive during the enforcement of COVID restrictions in line with access to their savings and money for investing in their production? Any insights? Joseph.
Okay, I will explain based on our group. Actually, when those COVID times came, there were so many restrictions. Actually, one of it was, in fact, we were not in a position even to meet. But after a while, we had to, because of the crop projections which were going on. So in our group, we have a fixed phone account where we put our money. So during our transactions, we transact money based, for example, if you request a loan of 1,000 shillings. So our treasurer will transfer that money to your account, so that we will not have money crossing our hands. So we were safe on issues of COVID and cases. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Very interesting topic for us on youth engagement in agribusiness. I know the horticulture sector across the region is growing, and Farm Africa is supporting it in Tanzania and Kenya. But there is still a huge question on access to seed, especially for high value crops. Jen Ngige, what are your thoughts, and where do you see opportunities for the East African region to engage in production of seed, production and commercialization of seed to enhance production of horticulture crops and other opportunities for young people?
Thank you very much. What we have actually seen is that some of the seed companies have actually gotten into partnership with some farmers to produce quality seed. And this quality seed is also supported by the institutions that are put in place by government to ensure that the quality is what will benefit the farmers, for instance. So we have cafes here in Kenya, which is responsible for phytosanitary issues, like I mentioned, and they go around these seed producing areas, checking on the quality of the seeds and certifying those that meet the requirements of certification. In that way, we are able to provide farmers with good seed and seedlings as well. We also see that a lot of farmers now would prefer to go for seedlings rather than go to seed, because when they buy seedlings, they know that they have bought seedlings that will definitely give them returns on their investment. So the government has also come up with facilitative policies to support seed producers, particularly in the areas of taxes and in the areas of packaging, and also to support them in terms of ensuring that they provide the right seed. That is both for horticulture products, but also for food crops like the beans. We now have a variety of seeds being produced by our own farmers together with seed producer companies, and also the importation of some of them where we need to import them is also facilitated again by the government. If you look at the area of potatoes, it's a very, very, very stringent assessment of the quality that comes into the country. We are also having an association, for instance, in the potato value chain, which is also ensuring that only quality planting material is available to the farmers. So yes, there's a lot of support. And again, I want to use the potato as the example here, because potato in this country is now becoming a very important product in terms of food security, and the government is pumping in a lot of
Jen, I'm afraid we are out of time. Apologies if we didn't get a round of your questions. This webinar has been recorded and it can be accessed shortly on Farm Africa website. In a special way, I want to thank you, the panelists and the listeners that were able to join in. Thank you for sharing with us the insights on how we can support youth involvement in the development of agri-food systems. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Bye.